Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah.
It's all about the entertainment, so I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it.
Look at the Johnson! They haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
And gentlemen, and welcome the penultimate round of this season's JPB Euro Sprint Cup. Round number 10 sees us to one of the slightly newer circuits on the iRacing service. Not brand new, but definitely on the newer end in terms of the circuits. We take to Jerez, of course. It's definitely a fun circuit, not one that drivers would have experienced too much when it comes to touring car machinery. My name's Zach Sweeney, James Parfitt alongside me in the commentary booth. With only, 4 races left to go this season, James, it's really starting to heat up.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's getting very hot at the top of the standings, of course, but it's been an interesting season. Obviously, the last season of this TCR schedule being held on JPB, which some have said it's sad to go, but we felt it was time for a change, and we have made the change as well. We are bringing you Formula Ford's all free content within iRacing called the Soggy Bottom series. And you can imagine what most of that is going to entail, Mr. Sweeney, because you're not going to get a soggy bottom doing a lot of other things. But that will be the Soggy Bottom schedule. You'll be off to VIR short course for round 1 on the 5th of April. Then round 2 will be Lime Rock. Round 3 will be Tsukuba, round 4 will be Oran Park, round 5 will be Alton Park National, I think it's going to be, or Islands I should say. Then you go to Laguna Seca, then you go off to Okayama GP, and then the last round will be Summit Point. You will have 10 minutes of open qualifying, 15 minutes race 1, grid set by qualifying, and race 2 will be a 25 minutes top 10 reverse. So you can head over to jpbbroadcasting.com. Sign-ups are open now, and if you want to get yourselves registered for that one, you can do. But it's going to be multiple variations of the rain, dear sir, so just to be aware.
Yeah, I did see sign-ups open. I might need to get myself involved. Hopefully there's a employee discount for the entry fee. Or BN. Or I just get 3 friends to do it and I get a discount anyway. But that entails finding 3 friends, so we'll find out. But yeah, Looking forward to seeing that.
Is
kick
free
itself up.
friends not a possibility, Mr. Sweeney?
I don't think so, mate. I don't think so. You know how you know how I am. So yeah, that's fine. But you know, it is what it is. I might need to, you know, actually fork out some money and not be very
It's
tight.
all free content. Stop.
Yeah, I know, but then you've got to buy iRacing, and then you've got to pay for the entry fee, and yeah, I'm tight. It's fine, and I'm jobless, which is even better. So yeah, anyway, I might get myself a soggy, but I'm not sure, because that also means practicing. But then again, I don't have a job, so I've got time to practice. Who knows? And we'll find out. I'll give it some thought, and maybe. Also, one of the rounds clashed on my birthday, and I don't really fancy bottling it on my birthday. That doesn't sound like the best way to spend my 18th, but we'll find out. Anyway, when it comes to the touring cars, let's enjoy them while we still can, because that's not, you know, we haven't got very long left to do it. What a sensational finale that we've got lined up for us. Of course, after round number 9, the drop weeks have been applied to the championship standings. So let's take a look at how those are racking up. In the pros, it's looking very nip and tuck, we shall say, between Dan Mould and Adam Dalmont. Of course, the two of them have been going toe-to-toe for the entirety of this season so far. It's 290 ahead of 277 between Mould and Dalmont. Only 13 points, so not a tremendous amount, but definitely a decent foothold for Mould to have at this stage in the championship. Kim Andrew Bjorklund has catapulted himself ahead of both John Brown and Adam McNally after sort of languishing in that P5 moment for quite some time this season. He's been able to get himself ahead of the two SRL sister cars, Brown and McNally, who round off the top 5. Nick Kirsten's there in 6th ahead of Carl Jacklet, whose consistent run sees him take to 7th. Van Campden only 9 points behind there, you can see in 8th, ahead of Fraser Garrity, Paddy Faulkner and JB Deju still rounding up the top 11. When it comes to the AMs after drop weeks, thankfully for Dan Paples, after missing a couple of rounds, he's been able to move his way back in to the lead of the championship ahead of Stuart Gibbons, but not by much. Again, only a 13-point deficit between P1 and P2. Two breakers after not a bad couple of weeks, but definitely ones where he thought there was more on the table. He rounds out in 3rd, only 2 points clear of Kev Aylett, Scott Malcolm rounding up the top 5, and a Deck Crowther, Billy Mole, and Chris Barnes. Then comes Paolo Brem, Chris Van Zonder, and Gary McFarlane in the top 11. So when it comes to both championships, James, everything is wide open.
Absolutely. There's still, which is very unusual for a series in general, to have the championship go down to the final 2 rounds, but we're quite lucky where we've got that driver spread where they still keep it very, very close to each other. So I think going, you know, that's the thing to look out for. Now, I can't see Peoples here this evening, currently at this moment in time, so maybe he's not here, so that's going to dent him now because he can't drop the last 2 rounds. So whatever he does now, or whatever score that happens the other AMs get, he's going to struggle. So he's got to be careful of what the likes of Kev Aylett, Stu Gibbons, Cooper Akers, they're all going to get here, because he isn't going to score any points because you cannot drop the last 2 rounds.
Which I think is a really good format. As such, it obviously makes our lives a lot easier in the commentary booth, because we see it as it is, and we know that there's not really going to be much to do in terms of, but is it their drop week and all that. I really like it. It gives the last 2 rounds. Everything else of the season is in the past. There are no second chances from this point on. You have to make sure you nail this end part of the season. Dan Paples, he's not even turned up, which is a bit of a shame, because he was looking very, very strong to take that championship. He definitely did want to go for that championship, but for whatever reason, of course, isn't here. When it comes to qualifying, Dan Mould is at the top. 53.2 is the lap times we're looking at, so a fairly long circuit here at Jerez for these touring cars.
Yeah, it's not a short one. It's definitely not one of the shorter ones we've been to. It is a long one. 153 though, that's generally around about what we've consistently seen this season between racetracks. We've been down to obviously 130s to 150, so I don't think these guys are going to mind or moan, to be honest. They all love their racing. They're quite happy to carry on and racing within this environment. So I think they're not going to worry too much about it. They're just going to see who can get the closest to basically the 153 or 152 mark that they're going to need, I think, to take pole. Interestingly enough as well, I don't see, there he is, Adam Dalmont has come out and said he has done 0 practice, 0 laps. So he said, what's going to go wrong?
A lot, probably, because it is Adam Dalmont, so we'll see. He hopefully will be able to take the fight to Dan Mould, because I'd hate to see the championship fight end now after all of these weeks for it to come down to nothing because Adam Delmont couldn't be bothered to chicane a couple laps. So let's see if he's able to improve. At the moment, P11 doesn't look to be much considering he's now 3 seconds off the back of Dan Mould. I'm sure that's not truly representative of Dan Mould, not Adam Dan Mould. Dan Mould's never in doubt. Adam Delmont, however, probably more often than not is. It's fine. We're only a couple of minutes in. I've already slated him. Get used to it, by the way.
You've given
Adam
him a
Delmont,
dig already, haven't you? For
I
no
know,
apparent reason, just because you feel like you can.
I think it's Jerez because when I did the GT4s at Jerez, I don't know what happened to me. I was slating everyone.
Yes, if I remember correctly, you went after Rob Williams because he was in a triple blade Merc team, and
he was driving a BMW.
Yeah, and he was driving a BMW, so you went at him there as well.
It's just the circuit. It just brings out the worst.
But you're just upset. You're just like upsetting everyone. I think that's the thing.
And I wonder why I can't get three friends to get free entry for it. So.
Well, you got to sign up for the loyalty program. If you've not heard about the JPB loyalty scheme, you sign up for a league and then 3 friends join as well. They use your loyalty code that we issue you. Your entry fee becomes 3, not 3, free. So there you go. Phil's not happy. What are you ignoring Phil about this time?
Phil?
Oh, I don't know. It's just some guy that keeps coming into our YouTube. Well, it's said and all that. Don't forget, he knows where you live.
Does it? Not exactly.
He lives just up the road from you. So be aware.
That's a bit of an exaggeration, really.
Not really.
I'll be fine. I'm sure I'll manage. Completely honest. Adam Delmont, that's more like it. Goodness me. How on earth have we got 3 drivers within 9 thousandths of a second?
It definitely took him a while to get going. Adam did say he hasn't done 0 laps, but to be honest, I think a driver of Adam's caliber, does he really need to be able to do them laps? That's the thing. I think, Zach, does he really need to? Possibly not, like others who may need to be able to have got to do them laps as well. So I think Adam comes out and sandbags a lot, and I haven't done laps, I haven't done this, and to be honest, I don't think he really needed to be honest, and I think he does a good job wherever he goes as well. I do want to do one thing really quickly, if I may. Yesterday, I had the privilege of going up to the City of Bristol College, where I went up for a interview with a young lady called Jessica Bradfield. She's looking at getting into commentary. She reached out on LinkedIn. She wanted me to come up, and they did a World at Works festival about different people's careers and how different students get into it. So I went out with the fortunateness of going up to Bristol, met her and Polly, who was the overall coordinator of it, and met some lovely young adults up there. They absolutely amazing. Some great questions coming forward as well, and you just explained a bit about the careers in commentary and how you go about getting into it, Zach. And as we know, it's not always a career that's easy to go from esports to IRL.
It's not. But they've done the right thing 100%. Obviously, for anyone out there who maybe does want to get into commentary, what you do is you write out a really long, lovely, how are you doing today? Yeah, this is me, and I really like what you do, and I'm a big fan. Give me a job, please. That's effectively what you do. You sweet talk your way in. You build a network. You build relationships. You have a contact base, and then you hope. Right? It's not like a normal job, right? It's not like you go to college, you get your A-levels, you get your qualifications, you go to uni, you go on Indeed, you find a job, and it's as easy as that. With commentary, you can get your foot in the door fairly easily. You can get to working for paid gigs fairly easily. Turning it into a career where you have sustainable income is a different thing entirely. So obviously for those guys at Bristol, they've done the right thing, which is to get you up there and talk with you, so you know their names, you know their numbers, you know how to contact them, blah blah blah. And then when I eventually get my P45 from JPB, boom, they get the call up.
Well, the thing is with that as well, like one of them, obviously we would be, she's asked for a work experience placement throughout the summer. Now obviously, as you know, we're not a normal school. We don't break up for summer, do we? We decide that we want to take 2 weeks of Christmas, and that's about it. So there you go. Al Corey's in the house. TPP in the house. Now I'm going to guess that's Al Corey, unless that's not Al. And then trouble when it's John Crutchley, but either one, welcome in, guys. So basically Jess is going to be coming over in the summer and doing some work experience with us through the summer as well. So she'll be coming on and doing some comms as well. She's got great aspirations to be an F1 commentator. And I met a lovely lady up there as well who is looking at getting into presenting motorsport and daytime TV, and she wants to do multiple other things as well. I met a great young lady who wanted to do football photography, and she, we were talking about what's going to be the best way in, and that actually was quite an interesting conversation because Polly, who we was up there with, gave her a contact of a football photographer she knows who could possibly get her in as work experience. So from her having a conversation with me, she hopefully managed to get a place working for Polly's contact. And that's what we were talking about networking. Networking is a major thing. And don't get me wrong, there are people out there who you network with who will keep all the work to their chest, and they won't recommend you for anything because they don't want you to take the work away from them. And there are people out there, Zach, aren't there? And I think we can both agree that there is people out there that do that. But there's also people out there that won't mind you going in and putting your name forward and them helping you get in the door. So you've got to be, balancing your contact list between people who will help you and people who, won't go out so much to help you in their own way that they possibly could.
Yeah, again, commentary is a very cutthroat business. As such, again, it's a very saturated market in the sense that it's not exactly the hardest thing to do in the world. It's pick up a microphone, you talk about pretend race cars. Obviously, the difficulty does come in doing it well, but fundamentally, anyone can do it, which is why there is such a long, diluted, saturated market of commentators. We're never necessarily going to run out of commentators. There might be competition for good ones, which is why
that's the problem.
That competition for the good ones as such is so highly sought after. People want to have the best people, pay the big bucks for their broadcasts. The likes of Excel and Formary and whoever who do all the big stuff at the top end of esports. They want the best, which is why the best people that get their foot in, they're not exactly going to roll over and go, nah, no, that's fine. You guys take my day rate. I don't want to do it. I just want to help you out. No one's going to do that. People got bills to pay.
Yeah, but that's the interesting thing as well sometimes, that the people that aren't willing to help out are the ones that you've helped in the past. And it's a very interesting market. I do find commentary as a very interesting market of individuals that you come across. We have, however, coming into the last 30 seconds of qualified. It is Al. I knew it was Al. Hi, Al. So, yeah, we will get on with that one. Enough of the careers into commentary. One of the things is, though, reach out, have a conversation, and we will see what we can do and help you as well. We've got some... Well, we've taken on 3 commentators this week, to be fair, that are instantly out working. So definitely worth hitting us up and giving us a shout if you do want to get in. We have got some good people you can learn from as well. Ewan O'Leary is one, of course. There's a couple of others. Nathan Richards has come in. We've obviously got Alex Goldschmidt as well. I'm sure there's one other, but I'm just not quite sure what his name is at the moment in time here either. But the grid is up for you there, Zach.
Yeah, that's the name you were looking for. Dan Mould is on pole position.
What, Dan Mould? No, he don't do commentary,
No,
mate.
right. Anyway, John Brown's alongside him on the front row. And ladies and gentlemen, rest assured that this is a very good thing. This is a virtual commentary booth and not a real one. Adam Delmont, Deck Crowther make up the second row. Deck Crowther doing a really good job there up on row 2. Kevin J.B. Auckland inside the top 5 alongside Anne McNally. Then comes Nick Carstens and Stuart Gibbons. Cooper Akers and Fraser Garrity round off the top 10. Alan McCain and the Dutchman of Van Kampen round off row number 6. Of course, then behind that, you've got Scott Malcolm, Kev Aylett, Billy Mole, and Chris van der Linde, the 16-car field for us here today. They're getting themselves ready onto the grid, and it should be a good one. Uphill climb towards turn number 1.
Yeah, we do that. I love how he says it's a virtual box, and if it was a real one, it would have been interesting to see what the little young man would have done if it was a real one, to be fair. There's that.
Don't patronise me. Do not patronise me. You know who I am?
Oh, my God. Yeah, you're a commentator of virtual race cars on virtual tracks that probably not a lot of people have heard of.
Yeah, fair enough. No, yeah, great. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, that
Sorry,
yeah,
is that the wrong thing for me to say?
Well, no, just when you say it like that, it makes it sound a bit pressing, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, that's why I cannot stand the people who go, do you know who I am? I don't care who you are. I have no interest in who you are.
It's like those people. Like those people that, you know, when you have a fight with them on like Xbox Live or whatever, they go, my dad owns Microsoft. Like, I don't care.
No, I don't
Shut
care
up.
either.
Yeah.
No, mate, you are right. There are a lot of people who use that as well. The funniest thing is in this industry, I go, if I've not heard of you, mate, I have no idea. You're clearly not that important. I only know people that matter, and I don't know you.
Well, that is true. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, there are very few well-known commentators, of course. That, you know, people hear the voices; they don't necessarily know the names. However, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of names remembered after this evening. The 5 lights will come on for round number 10 of the JPB TCR Cup here at Jerez. It's Dan Mould and John Brown the front row. We get up and underway here at Jerez, and an uphill climb towards turn 1, of course. An immediate launch, I think, in the background from Adam McNally, just trying to get the jump going into turn 1. And you can see here actually a fight potentially for the lead as Adam Delmont tries to pick his way past John Brown, who's trying to attack, of course, Dan Mould. In towards turn 2, the next braking zone, and it's single file for the top 3, side by side, as Kim-Andre Bjorklund battles away with Adam McNally. But so far, so clean.
Yeah, Andre Bjorklund up 1 there as well. The top 3 hadn't moved. Delmont had to try and clear Brown. We know Brown is obviously the teammate of Dan in front. So for Delmont, he's now got to make sure he can clear John. Otherwise, John's going to put up a big old defense. He'll put up a wall and he will not allow him to get through. But Kim-Andre Bjorklund is an attacker. He isn't born of Viking blood for no reason. He is an attacker, and he will go at these guys once more. Cooper Akers, Stuart Gibbons, down. Adam Delmont's just making it through there, Zach, as well. Great job from Delmont. He's now into second place.
Yeah, but the important thing is he's behind Dan Mould. Doesn't matter where he is, he just needs to be ahead of the championship leader. He's still got 18 minutes left of this race to figure that out. The top 5 line astern as we battle our way towards the back end of lap number 1. Unfortunately, Alan McCain has had some issues at the back end. Bjorklund trying to battle for the podium, immediately trying to put some pressure on John Brown, who unfortunately not getting off to the best starts. He's definitely started on the back foot. He just needs to pick himself back up, get himself back in front.
Yeah, 1 lap qualifying is a bit different to a race when everybody's coming at you, right? You've got to know that how to deal with that 1 lap pace, but then you've got to make that 1 lap pace into a full race pace, and that's not always easy, and it's definitely not always possible for some people to do. We've got Cooper Akers leading the AMS. He's got Stuart Gibbons right behind him. A big night for these boys. They've got to make sure they're finishing there as well, as JB and McNally make contact once again there. And now you can see it's all about what JB and Adam McNally are going to do. JB's slipping down the order. He's lost the place for Bjorklund as well. Delmont's losing the place to McNally. Is he going to hold it? Oh, just, but I think that's going to put him in third. JB's off as well. Oh, Zach.
It's all kicked off, let's put it that way. And, well, have a look at what's happened going in up the hill. And John Brown's way too late. I mean, he nearly saved it, but in the end, yeah, not good enough. And unfortunately, there, on his way around a little bit down to 6th in class, of course, and that is not ideal. Adam Delmont then leads from Kim-Andre Bjorklund and Adam Delmont, who's still up there, of course, in the podium places. But yeah, John Brown, unfortunately, doing a John Brown.
Yeah, he did, but he didn't do it as ceremoniously as he did at Knock Hill, so we'll give him that one. Stuart Gibbons is now leading the AMS. What's happened to Cooper Akers? It looks like he's all of a sudden lost a couple of places, and he did, starting off down the back with Scott Malcolm who cleared, and then everybody else went through after that, unfortunately for him. JB all the way down in 11th at the moment, unfortunately for John Brown. So they are down in 11th. Kev Aylett in the championship fight, find out with Billy Mole, his teammate with Stephen Van Kampen in front. Van Kampen is obviously part of Sim Racing Esports team, and then Chris Van der Linden is the Esports Academy team, which is on Dan Brown's side of Dan Peoples' side of things. So for him, he can do a job over Billy Mole and Kev Aylett behind him here and take some points off him to give Dan a slim chance of retaining that top of the championship.
I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult. I mean, over the course of this evening, there are 40 points on offer, of course, for position, and that is getting very close. Of course, Kev Aylett up there in the championship in 4th place in the AMS, wanting to maximise his points. However, down in 7th place in class, not the best place for him. be by any stretch of the imagination. Back to the front of the pros, Dan Mould sets the benchmark time, the fastest lap of the race thus far. Bjorklund, though, of course, he's on a really good run of form recently. Wins and podiums and top fives, of course, the resurgence back into the top 3 in the championship, sandwiched, of course, between the 2 championship leaders. I mean, he's got nothing to lose. He's gunning for that win.
No, he hasn't. He might as well go for it. What's he going to get out? You know, what might happen? He might get second. You know, he's got to win both races here this evening. Obviously, that different point scale for them. So he might get first. If he gets first, it might take some points out of the people in front of him. And still, we're early days. We're only 15 minutes in. And currently, anything can happen and probably will happen. So keep your eyes peeled for this one as we're still battling it out here with 15 minutes to go. You know, it's one of these, racing in general, I would always stay into the end. I'm a very much, I will always stay there because you just never know what will happen. And that's what happened the other day. I was driving at Le Mans in the rain in an LMP2. And by the time we got down the second Mulsanne straight, out of 8 GTPs, there was only 1 left. And it was 1 GTP and about 6 P2s only finished the race in the wet, and that is due to the fact that people were treating it like you know, it was still dry and going careering in, and they lost a bunch of time and crashed into each other. And as I say, out of 8, there was 1 GTP that finished.
Yeah, you've got to treat it with a respect in the rain. We'll get back to that in just a second because Bjorklund has an absolutely abysmal run out of the final corner. That is going to invite Adam Dalmont to have a look to the outside. The Norwegian tucks in. That's fair game. Dalmont setting the fastest lap of the race and in hot pursuit of Dan Mould. And that's the thing that's going to be really interesting next season, of course, for the Soggy Bottom Series. A name I cannot take seriously whatsoever. But
you're not supposed to.
You have to treat it with a respect. The iRacing model is incredibly realistic. I can't wait to obviously try it. But from what I've seen, you really do have to find the grip. It's not like ACC or rFactor 2 where you can kind of take a dry line. It's very much simulating the fact that you do have to be quite creative. And more often than not, you are not going to be on the orthodox racing line. You are going to have to treat the car with such respect because one small mistake, you're gone. Your race is over.
Yeah. That's the thing. To be fair, I wasn't quick, but I was never expected to be quick. You know, however, there was some weird quick time throughout that race as well. Somebody was literally in a P2 bordering lap times as if he was on dry tyres. You know, he was doing lap times 9 to 10 seconds quicker than a GTP in front of us and about 13 to 15 seconds quicker than the next P2. You know, I'm not saying the guy was cheating, don't get me wrong, but it just quite didn't feel right when he's not far off dry times at Le Mans, as you can imagine. But I will say one thing, the spray, you cannot see nothing. Absolutely jackal. When another car or 2 cars are in front of you, you cannot see anything going into a corner. You have to move out the way. Racing line in the wet doesn't exist. Stay off the curbs. You can't take them because you do slip. And also, one of the interesting things as well for me, Zach Sweeney, as I found out, if you end up in the grass or you end up in the gravel, you cannot get out of it unless you do something very creative with the steering wheel.
The worst thing you can do in that situation is press the brake pedal. The best thing you can do, I've had it in karting, albeit at corporate level, is lift off the throttle and just be really smooth. Again, there is an element of pray to whatever God you believe in, because again, you are at the mercy of the conditions. But the worst thing that you can do is brake. Because of how slippery it is, even cars with ABS, of course, anti-braking systems, will still lock up the front and the rear tyres. And when that happens, there's no rotation on the tyres. When there is no rotation on the tyres, the car literally, the momentum of it just follows whatever direction it's going in. Rather than if the wheels are rotating, i.e. you have taken off the brake, the wheels are still rotating. So there is some element of control, even if it is a case where you hit the wall side on as to not damage your car as substantially. So yeah, it's all about control and quick thinking. And at the end of the day, not panicking, as easy it is to do, the last thing you can do in that situation is, you know, just start freezing up and panicking and not knowing what to do and instinctively pressing on the brake pedal. That's the worst thing you can do in that situation.
Yeah, you've got to lift a lot more as well, and as I say, if you end up in the gravel, I took the the Formula Ford out of VIR, and I ended up in the gravel. Lucky enough, I ended up on a slope because I was able to manage to get the car out of the gravel that put me on the grass, and of course I went to accelerate forward, and I couldn't get up the hill, so I had to then put it into reverse and get it reversed back, and I must have done about a 50-point turn to try and get it off the grass because I was trying to avoid the same part that I turned into last time, if that makes sense. Because we've got Dan Mould and Adam Dalmont battling it out up front, as slowly dropping Kim on JB Auckland here, going down into Expo 92, turn 1, the right-hander, then down around the right-hander of turn 2, then through left to 3 and 4. So yeah, there's a lot to contend with, especially when you get on the grass. You're not just going to be able to hurtle off if you're in the rain.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be looking forward to seeing if touring cars ever do get the rain. If iRacing ever want to touch this segment of the simulator ever again. But sort of summer edition. Maybe we get the modern touring cars, you know, the Infiniti, the BMW, the rear-wheel drive ones, and also the hybrid systems as well, because touring cars have got those now.
Yeah, they've had them for 2 seasons now.
Really, have they? I didn't realise it was that long. I thought it was just the last one.
No, I'm pretty sure it's 2. As well. Alan McCain has had a bit of a moment here, unfortunately. Not entirely sure what Alan has been catching himself up to. He's coming down into turn 1. That's going to spin. He's going in way too quick there as well. He's missed his break point and unfortunately onto the gravel. What about our resident young Scott Malcolm, who is here as well? I believe, is there possibly going to be contact here? There is. There's a dive. Gee whiz, Batman. I'm not entirely sure where you thought you were going, but wherever you're going, Nick Kirstens, you certainly weren't getting there clearly, dear sir. And that could be a penalty incoming as well. One of the things I will say as well, JPB have had a comprehensive rulebook change across every road series possible. So we have had a now massive comprehensive rulebook change that apparently my 5 lines weren't good enough, and it's now about 10 pages long. So be aware, if you're coming into a series, you need to read the rule book, because Steve Burns has done an absolutely incredible job for me and wrote a rule book that, well, is literally written for real world, transferred into sim racing. It is absolutely amazing. There's lovely diagrams in there and everything. It is incredible. So much love to Stephen Burns there, who did that for us as well. So yeah, if you come into a series next season, please read the rules, because they are going to be very comprehensive of what you can and cannot do.
Yeah, the last thing you want is grey areas, right?
As I found out. I think the thing is as well, I've got to say now that obviously, you know, we're still learning. As JPB leagues go, we are still relatively young in the form of the baby phase. You know what I mean? We're just moving into that almost toddler phase where we've got season 5 of the Clios and so on and so forth. So we've only been going a year. So the rule books that we thought would work are now not working. We're getting a lot more different races from your regular work races down the pub with your mates, to now being a lot more competitive, as Dalmont is showing us as they go through dry sack, turn number 6 here, up into the left-hander of 7. Dalmont almost made it through there, didn't quite make it through that time, and Dan Mould comes out the other side, still with the full sack of being in first. He's just not going to be able to hold on, I think, as they go up into Asper, another double left-hander here as well, and now through turn 9 of Angela Niado, and that is why you stay in a race, because anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Dan Moll dropping down to 3rd then, thanks to what happened there. And Kim Auckland actually making a very hot pursuit for the lead. They're going into the next chicane. The inside goes the way of the Norwegian. Of course, Dalmont trying to go the long way round. He just is able to keep his nose in touch. Bjorklund, though, taking the lead of the race. The up and under is there, though, as Adam Dalmont pursues the race lead once more.
Yeah, 6.5 minutes to go, and as we said, anything can happen. Is he going to be now on for taking a victory for Bjorklund and taking 15 points? That's going to be the question for him in race 1. It's 25 for race 2. That could give him a full, 40 points over the evening, a full Grand Slam. So don't forget to get points for qualifying as well, then they get on pole, then they get for fastest lap. So there's a lot of options there. Bjorklund knew that Dalmont was going to come there through turn 1. He tries to pull the overcut on the outside. He almost tried to come back at him, but then Dalmont put his car in a position where he couldn't come back at him. To go around turn 2 now and off that run through 3 and 4 before they go down into turn 6 once more.
Yeah, of course, a brilliant battle. All it's going to do is allow Mr. Dan Mold to reel his way back into contention, and he's not that far off when you think about things. Of course, only 0.8 of a second. That is still firmly in the slipstream range. Adam Dalmont leads the way. This is vital points for him. Of course, only 13 in the championship hunt, and already, based on this race alone, he would be gaining 6, making that 7 with the current fastest lap bonus as well. So he's over halving the gap from this race alone, let alone race number 2. This is a turning point race for Dalmont this late in the championship.
Yeah, he's got to make some point gains. There's no drop rounds now. It's all about what you score and what you get, and that is it. They've got to make sure they are maximising the most amount of points they can do here as well. 5 minutes remaining. They're probably going to get with this one and 2 more if my maths is near enough round to correct on the 2-minute mark. But now look who's in the back there, that crouching tiger, hidden dragon ninja. That is Dan Mold coming up in 3rd place there as well in that black liveried machine, doing a job once more, and is doing an incredible job, as well as Stu Gibbons, who's managing to hold on to the AM lead here as well. And the interesting for Stu currently at the moment is his teammate and his teammate Blade Designs Gamma and Blade Designs pretty much. Deck Crowther, who's not in the championship, is behind Stu Gibbons. So whether or not he's going to give Gibbo any grief whatsoever, probably not. He's probably going to allow Gibbo to come and maximise his points where he can.
Yeah, maybe so. Of course, 4.5 minutes left to go of this race. Both championships up in the air, so there is a lot of mental maths going on for each and every single one of these drivers. Gibbons wanting every bit of points that he can get. And of course, with that AM lead is going to be extending the gap over Coupe Breakers and the rest, and of course taking the championship lead as well. That's dipping a wheel for Kim-André Bjorklund, and that is going to promote Dan Mold potentially to have a bit of a look going to the inside of the long sweeping right-hander that precedes the straight. He works his way through, and this is great news for Dalmont because Mold is off.
Oh, the problem is, they're going to look at it, but what could he have done? Did he drift over? That's the problem. I think this is the first one. My apologies. I'll go back into the second one now. But did he drift over on the exit? You decide on that one, because he's coming out. Andre Bjorklund, he's front wheel to rear wheel, which, as I keep getting told by drivers, means you're alongside. So where would you go with that one?
I mean, if he has right of way, it's fair enough, right? But at the end of the day, there are plenty of people in the graveyard who had right of way. So you sort of have to, you sort of have to. No, but you get what I mean, right? You sort of have to.
I do get what you mean. Yeah.
You have to base it off the sense that I've got the right of way, but am I going to let that stubbornness and that pride get the better of me and potentially put my race at risk? Is it worth it? When now, obviously, for Dan Mold, Bjorklund, they've lost themselves a chance for the lead. For Dan Mold, his pride has lost him a decent chance at 2nd place and has now cost himself down to 7th place in the running order, which is detrimental for the championship. It closes the gap to just 2 points. And of course, he is close to Nick Kirstens, but I don't think his pace is going to be anywhere near reminiscent of what he could have in order to battle for that 6th place. So for Dan Mold, that mistake, of course, and the battle with Bjorklund, however you want to attribute the blame, giving an extra car's width on the exit could have saved him so many points and potentially the championship.
I agree. I do agree. He is trying to come back through. Coupe Breakers has allowed these two to go on. This is Nick Kirstens and Dan Mold. I'm sure I saw Dan Mold's rear wing pop off onto the floor.
Huh?
When he crashed, I'm sure his rear wing went on the floor.
I didn't see it.
I am positive that when he went off the side of the circuit, here we go, his rear wing went into the barrier and come off.
Where's his front wing gone?
I won't worry about that.
Back on?
Yeah, they're back on.
You said front wing?
No, rear wing. I've said rear wing.
Okay, fair enough. I honestly thought he said front wing.
No,
Fair
rear
dues.
wing.
Okay, well, that's a big help for him. A little bit of a twitch, so maybe there definitely is some damage to there. But that explains why he's actually still on the back of Nick Kirsten's. And to be fair, a P5, if he's able to scrape that, would be a huge bit of damage limitation going into race 2.
Yeah, it would be. Any points is damage limitation, isn't it? They're going to be coming now. Adam Dalmont is on his run round Lorenzo, turn 13. He's going to be going over the line as well, taking Barney, the checkered flag waving man who stands there all day in the dry. He's now standing all day in the rain. Here's Barney, but there we go. Adam Dalmont comes over the line. Final lap of the race. Quaver and Gibbo. That's not going to change. I think Quaver is pulling a team game here and just allowing Gibbo to maximise his points going forward. Fraser Garrity and John Brown, they're coming in once more. You can see Adam Dalmont and Nick Kirstens. Both of these are hard. We've got a hard charger and a hard defender. Of course, Nick got caught up in an incident earlier on with Scott Malcolm, which is definitely going to be looked at, I'm sure, there as well. And some tough defending again on Dan Brown. And they're going to go across each other all day, baby. All day. You saw that. Yes. Never mind. Carry on.
On the inside, of course, this is the site where it all went wrong. Is it going to be the same case again? No, he learns. And did you notice how much more space he left on the outside that time by?
Yeah, and that should have been what he, in hindsight, what he should have done going forward as well with Bjorklund. And it didn't. And the result was obviously him popping off with phantom damage.
You made that sound so much cooler than it was.
Thank you.
I respect you for that. No, that was a very trailer-esque, like coming to theatres near you this summer sort of thing. I do like it. I do
Along
respect
with
it.
Luke, I am your.
Yeah, no, that's that. It was good the first time. Let's not milk it.
I'm not.
Adam Dalmont on the final lap of this race has not dominated. He got third place in qualifying. But what an important race it's turned itself out to be. He has driven with such maturity, made the most of his opportunities, and has been given a stroke of luck in this championship. Of course, there is still race 2 to come, but he takes a huge step towards closing that gap in the championship versus Dan Mold. Adam Dalmont crosses the line victorious for race number 1 here at Jerez. Dimaggio Bjorklund and Anna McNally complete the podium. Fraser Garrity, John Brown at the top 5. Dan Mold eventually able to pick his way into 6th. Stuart Gibbons taking an important victory and a fastest lap for the AM race as well, taking the championship lead, going to just 3 races left of the season.
Yeah, that's going to be massive for Gibbo. Absolutely huge, and fair play, dear sir. You've done a great job there as well. So Stephen Van Kampen coming over the line with Chris van der Linden there behind them, the last of the 2 finishes here. So, yes, well done to all of them guys. And the results, dear sir, are up on your screen.
Well,
there you go.
20 minutes of racing action, halfway of the evening done already, and it's Adam Dalmont from Bjorklund and McNally, the podium. Gibbons and Crowther both inside the top 5, of course, looking very, very strong in their respective fight in the AMS. Then comes Fraser Garrity and John Brown, of course, 6 and 7. Dan Mold down in 8th place overall. Of course, that translates itself into 6th place in the pros. However, the track position means he starts a little bit further up for the reverse grid race to come. Nick Kirstens from Cooper Acres, the top 10. Ahead of Billy Mole, Kev Aylett, Scott Malcolm, Stephen Van Kampen and Chris van der Linde, the top 15. Poor old Adam McCain, unfortunately due to the issues on lap 1, won't even be benefiting from the reverse grid, and he'll start from 6th place.
Yeah, he will at the moment, unfortunately for him, but it's a top 10 reverse, so that puts Cooper Acres on pole position there as well. And I'm just getting a poll together. Who you think will win race 2? So have a vote on the poll. Let us know who you think will win race 2 there. So we'll see what happens once more. And obviously, if you want to follow along at home as well, there is the live timing for race 2, and you can get yourselves involved and follow along all the action and every bit of racing as we're into a 5-minute warm-up at the moment.
Yeah, and of course, it's just time for the drivers, I suppose, just to stand up, shake the legs, go for a wee, get a drink, whatever, really, to just cool off, I suppose. I don't really think we're going to see anyone go to the track,
No,
there's no point.
No, definitely not.
There's better ways to use this 5 minutes, I think, 100%.
I agree. I fully agree with you. Don't forget, guys, coming up over this weekend as well, we start with a VWSC historic round 2 from Sebring. If you have not seen the 1964 cars that Storm Gang Simulation have put together, oh my God, come and watch them because it has been absolutely amazing. We've got the WCCS round 3 from Portugal. They are in F123. They're going live around about 7 p.m. as well, so they'll be live on that one. And of course, we've got the iFormula F1 round 7 from Imola with Dean Biggles and Alex Goldschmidt. Now on Sunday, we've got the PEL Platinum Endurance League Australian GT3s are coming on the Sunday morning. Then we've got the Coffee Cup round 4 from Mugello. That's GT3s at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then we've got iFormula F3 round 7 from Imola. Then we've got the FTR events round 1 from VIR. 5 classes, 60 drivers. That's going to be an interesting one. Come along for that one. That'll be going off about 8 o'clock. And then, of course, we've got the IGP race for Imola, their annual charity race that they do on Sunday as well. So we've got no fewer than 5 broadcasts, and if you're a late owl like I am, you can come and join us for the Triple Bypass Gen 4 from the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park as well at 2 a.m. with myself and Bradley Dalton. So technically you've got 6 broadcasts going out tomorrow. Again, another record I feel in the broadcasting world at all, because I've not seen any other broadcast that was 6 going out on one day. So there we go. We set records here, we break down barriers, and we certainly smash down them walls.
Metaphorically, obviously, there's vandalism going to JPB.
Yes, we don't go and knock down walls and burgle people's houses. That's what we mean, metaphorically, of course. The boundaries and walls that get placed.
Yeah, all right, go with that. So yeah, fair play. I mean, broadcast is quite a lot, and shows the vast amount of resources that you do have, and assisting very much the community side of sim racing as such. Not often do these guys get their sort of chance in the spotlight. Not often do they get their broadcast with amazing people like me and James Puff.
Are you actually working
of course,
on Sunday? Out of all of what we've got taking place, are you actually working?
No. Not for you.
So, really then, just no. We've got myself and Edward Hunter on Coffee Cup. We've got Dean Biggles and Brad doing iFormula. We've got myself and Edward again on FTR. And then Biggles and Ewan doing IGP. And then myself and Brad doing Triple Bypass. Do you see the common denominator in all of that?
Who?
Me.
Okay, then, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be all right. Got around the penny somehow.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Of course, the warm-up is now coming, of course, towards a close. So the grid for race number 2 will be set in just a few moments' time. It'll be interesting to see who's going to come out on top. It's an all-Dutch front row, to be fair, of course. We'll run you through the grid. Well, actually, right now, Chris van der Linde, Stephen Van Kampen at row 1, ahead of Scott Malcolm and Kev Aylett, 3 and 4. Billy Mole and Coop Breakers round off row 3, ahead of Nick Kirstens and Dan Mould up there inside the top 8. It's not going to take him very long to be fighting at the front, I'm sure. JB ahead of Fraser Garrity, the top 10. Then comes Derek Crowther and Stuart Gibbons, new AM Championship leader, rounding off row number 6. Behind that, you can see Adam McNally, Kim Andre Bjorkland, row 7. Adam Delmont completes the top 15. Of the poor old lonely Alan McCain in P16 and last, coming in to this second race. The grid is set. I think we're just waiting for a couple of people to ready up. Private lights will come on and we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, we definitely will here again. So stay tuned here on this one, as race 2 is going to be as spectacular as race 1, I'm sure. We'll be finding out who is going to do what and who's going to take what points here as well.
Well, everyone is on the grid, apart from Alan McCain. 5 red lights will illuminate your screen. 20 more minutes on the clock. Round 10 of the JPB TCR Euro Sprint Cup is about to get itself underway here in Jerez, and we are go. A great start from Scott Malcolm from row number 2. He tries to pick his way past Steven Van Kampen going into turn number 1. I don't quite think there is going to be the gap. Of course, the Dutchman trying to find his way past his teammate, and of course, Countryman, who goes very wide in the opening phase. Van Kampen finds his way past. He's side by side with the Scotsman, Scott Malcolm, who tries to go the long way round. How is that going to work out for him as they run their way towards turn number 3? So far, so good, albeit not the best of starts for our pole sitter.
No, definitely not there as well. They were too wide, too deep at one point here. Kev Aylett making his move into the middle. Dan Mould up 2, Akers down 1. Brown in 8th, McNally 9th, Garrity in 10th. Again, Scott Malcolm's being pushed out again by Nick Kirstens. We've seen that write a story there as well, and unfortunately for Scott, he's travelling all in the sand. There's no sand in Scotland. He thought he'd go and get it in Spain, in a ref, and did go out there, and now he's digging sandcastles. Too wide, too deep, behind Steven Van Kampen.
Yeah, let's see who's going to be able to get their way up and start this race on the best foot forward. Dan Mould already into P3. Where is Delmont? He's into P11 and needs to be making some huge gains before this field starts to spread. There is Kimandre Bjorklund as well, trying to find his way past Adam McNally, make his way a little bit further forward. Delmont already into the top 10, so making some swift gains towards the front. Inside line for McNally as he tries to pick his way past. That's Cooper Akers that's been sent wide. McNally sideways. Yorkland versus JB and Adam Delmont that all find their way through, and that got very, very tight very quickly.
Yeah, the problem is for Adam for McNally, almost went off there. Delmont managed to survive. He's up 7 places. There was a puff of smoke going into there as well. So somebody locked up desperately hard. Billy Mole up front is chasing down Van Kampen, giving him a load of grief. Dan Mould and Nick Kirstens, we know how this one resumed last time. There's a big send from Delmont up the inside, 3 wide round the final corner. Bjorklund was always going to lose out on the outside. Now comes Garrity into the mix as well, with Bjorklund, with Craver, with Akers, all still fighting it out. So let's keep an eye on the front as Dan Mould and Nick Kirstens resume World War II.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, it's
you know
definitely,
what I mean.
It's a hard fight nonetheless. Van Kampen trying to hang on tooth and nail to keep the lead ahead of Billy Mole, who is harassing him and giving him hell in that fight for P1. Nick Kirstens, Dan Mould, who again is losing time and goes sideways through the left-hander, able to keep, of course, hold of it by just planting his foot to the floor. Kev Aylett tries to capitalise to the outside. Meanwhile, Delmont only a few cars behind.
Yeah, it's not a massive points drop he's taking at the moment. I will say that thing is not losing a huge amount of points as he's coming up to the behind the back of Fraser Garrity. John Brown in there with Kim Andre Bjorklund. They're going side by side past round Dry Sack at the moment.
You love saying that, don't you?
It's the name of the corner. What am I supposed to say?
No, nothing. I'm just saying you love saying it.
Well, it's like turn 1 at VIR Short, isn't it? What's that called, do you know?
I do know, yeah, I do.
Yeah, female dog.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we supposed to do? Avoid the corner name because they decided to call it something that might hurt some of the wet melts. Who knows?
The wet melts. That's what we should call the Soggy Bottom series. The wet melts.
The wet melt Soggy Bottom series. Kirstens and Billy Mole going at it. Billy Mole does the right thing and allows Kirstens through. I think for Billy, he's just not really wanting to get involved here as they're on their run round a Ferrari on their way down into Lorenzo, which is turn 13, of course. So now Billy Mole's got to make a decision. I think, to be honest, if he gets out the way going round turn 13, I don't think he will lose a massive amounts of time. And he has got his teammate Kev Aylett sitting in second in the AM Championship, let's not forget. So is it really going to cost Billy letting Dan Mould through, or is it going to cost him more by fighting him?
I don't know. Of course, everyone wants to finish as high up as they can. Billy Mole up there in 4th, and now that is going to invite his teammate Kev Aylett to potentially get involved. Of course, as far as an AM win goes, he's going to be hoping that Delmont picks his way past and, of course, is able to slow Aylett down as much as possible. Of course, Delmont trying to go the long way around. Aylett doing his best to hang on. I mean, for Mole, it's inevitable, really. The pack is so close, so much so that he almost needs to maintain as much track position as is humanly possible.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? He took 15 points in race 1. Dan Mould was down in 7th, I believe. So that's a 10-point gap for race 1. Where they're at the moment is Mould's likely to score 21. Delmont is in 5th, and he's only going to be on 17. So Delmont technically will come out with a 6-point plus over the 2 evening of racing. So it's not going to be a massive problem for Delmont if he can't get any further. But I also feel that Billy Moe is not going to really cause him a problem here either. So it's going to be tough. We've got some nice little tiny battling going down in 7th. That's Fraser Garrity. He's got Kev Aylett, and then Aylett's got Crowther, Cooper Akers, and Gibbo. That is the main AM fight, of course, with Cooper Akers sitting in 3rd, Aylett 4th, Malcolm 5th, and Crowther 6th. There with Gibbo sitting in 2nd place at the moment, but we know that's all going to change because you cannot drop the final 2 rounds, and round 9 was your final chance, so that is it. And unfortunately for Dan Peoples, he's not going to score any points over the next, well, this evening's racing. We don't obviously know if he's not going to be here next time.
Wouldn't have mattered anyway because he's already missed a round. So
well, his drop score would have been 0, right? So we know that.
Either way.
But now he's going to lose even more points.
Is suboptimal to say the least. Depends whether how the other drivers do it. I mean, if Stuart Gibbons goes out there and wins both races, which is highly likely, that's a 40-point, which is going to translate to a 27-point lead going into the final round at Zolder, which is near unrecoverable. However, if Deck Crowther, Cooper Akers, maybe Kev Aylett can get into the mix and lower down Stuart Gibbons, so much so that that point score, while not ideal for Dan Peoples, is spread out a little bit, so much so to give him at least a little bit of a fighting chance. Billy Mole versus Adam Delmont in the background. That's the fight for 4th place overall, doing Dan Mulder. Huge favourite, must be said, as he himself battles Nick Kirsten's going into the dry sack. And there you can see Adam Delmont actually on the inside of it as he finds his way past Billy Mole. Kim Anja Bjorklund as well, very quick to capitalise on the open gap.
Yeah, he's going to go around the outside. He's trying to cut back through. Mole, I don't really know if Mole's doing himself a favour. I'm a little bit lost on whether or not he is at the moment. As the 2 Sim Race Esports boys lock up the front row, that's side by side. That gives Dan Mole literally nowhere to go, and if they can continue that, well, they've got to made a mistake. I can tell you now, Van Kampen has left the door open. That's allowed Mole into 2nd. Is it at the moment? No. He chopped the nose off Van Kampen there. He had to be very, very careful. Now here comes Delmont. What's he going to be able to do past Van Kampen? Is he going to be able to get through as well? But it also leaves Dan Mold and Nick Kirstens for that front fight.
Yeah, Adam Delmont through, or at least momentarily. Let's see what Van Kampen can do in order to fight a defence. Not quite able to. Still sub 1 second is the fight between 3rd and 2nd. And here is the all-important fight for the lead. Dan Mole ducking, diving, searching for the gap on the inside. He finds it. Nick Kirstens tries to go the long way around, and he does. Absolutely sensational stuff in order to maintain this race lead as we approach the half-distance mark. Delmont, though, because of this battling, all over the rear end of Dan Mold, who's starting from 8th place, had to maximise opportunities. He had half of the grid between himself and Adam Delmont. This was a golden opportunity to get a head start and build a gap. Right now, it's not at all a guarantee. In fact, I'd hedge my bets, it's probably 50-50 as to who's going to finish in front of who.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with you, so take them words in, Mr. Zach Sweeney, because you might not hear them that often as we've gone over
every
the season.
week. Don't even.
What do you mean every week? There isn't every week I turn around and say I agree with you, is there? Oh man, I need to change that one. Bjorklund and Van Kampen there, going around turn 6. And then off on the run, round 7. Mold and Kirsten still having a battle. Kirsten's not going to give this up easy. He will not roll over. If he's going to be, if you haven't put him into a dog category, he would be an Alsatian or a bulldog. He will not let you go here. He's definitely not going to get his tummy tickled like my little dashhound does when he gets all excited.
Well, that is very true, and I wouldn't put any of these guys down to being a dashhound. Maybe more of a German Shepherd or a Husky with these guys. Then again,
I don't know, you know, my dashhound's
Delmont's a Chihuahua.
Yeah, my dashhound's quite yappy. So it probably does comprehend some drivers who we've come across over the multiple seasons of doing league racing.
Alan Toon.
Oh, I love Alan Toon. You can't really call him yappy. You don't really. He's
not yappy.
He ain't got a bad
roll over.
Yeah, he's more of a little dashhound because he's so lovely. Is Alan Toon? He hasn't got a bad bone in his body. I can tell you that much. Even when UK Sim Racers did the Crash Fest race, where rounds 3 and 4 was like just crash into anybody and try and take them out, like almost banger racing. Alan 2 couldn't even do that. It was, yeah, it was so cool trying to watch him do banger racing. He didn't even have the heart to take anybody out, did he?
Poor guy. I mean, that's not poor. That's a very respectable trait to have. Of course, I don't think we're going to see any such mercy from any of these three drivers who are all in pursuit, of course, for this race to victory. Into the second half of it, Dan Mold from Kirstens. Dalmont, though, has the very big barrier of Nick Kirstens to get past first.
Yeah, Mold only made it past him because Kirstens made a mistake. Kirstens went off the side of the circuit. That slowed him down. That almost released Dalmont. Dalmont couldn't quite capture the opportunity to make the move. He's trying to cut back on the dry sack at the moment. And there's nothing worse than trying to cut back on that corner, because it will hurt you if you do get pinched in the wrong place, of course. Now they're on the run through 7 and 8. What?
Stop. You're taking too much pride with it.
I'm not
We're seeing
even
a great
doing
battle
anything
here, and all you can talk about are dry sacks.
I'm not even doing anything. You are such a dirty-minded young man, Mr. Sweeney. Stop
I'm a 17-year-old, James.
Yes, well, that would stop it. That's not where I was taking it at all. There, because if you do get pitched on the outside of the dry sack, it will hurt, because they'll end up going across the front and spinning off and hitting the barrier.
It could get very hairy very quickly, couldn't it?
It could do. Gamer Dad, welcome. Welcome into.
I feel so bad for those poor Bristolians.
Into the booth as well. No, I did make it clear that you do it. You know, you've got to enjoy what you do, right? And if you can't enjoy if you can't enjoy what you're doing, there's no point doing it, because you can't talk passionately about it. It's like I said to them, some of your dreams may not come with high pay, but do you want to be working for 60 years in a job where you wake up every day going, oh, I've got to go to work just because it pays you 60 grand a year? Or do you want to work in a job where you can be comfortable on 30 grand a year and wake up every day and think, absolutely, I'm going to go to work today without any problem? Me, I'll take the second one.
Oh, 100%. You know, I'd rather, I mean, they say, right, if you do a job you love, you don't work a day in your life. And I'd rather get paid to not work.
Nope. I don't. This for me isn't work. It's still part of my little hobby that I sit at home and, you know, do from home. But it's got to be enjoyed. And I think without some of the back, you know, we go to corner names. Let's be real. VIR short, as we see John Brown going up the inside of Billy Mole. That's not really significant in the battles, because that's a class battle. Brown is the pro, Mole is the am. We go to VIR short, you know, their turn, what is it, turn 1. It's called the bitch. What are we, you know, it's going to be there. Bomb hole at Snetterton is another one where if you get it wrong and say it quickly, it sounds something like completely different. So, you know, as I say, if you're coming in or you're a bit soft, unfortunately, it's not going to go well for you, as Adam McNally and Stephen Van Kampen going side by side round turn 10 on to 11 through the Alex Crivell chicane, the right and left, and then they're going to be coming up through Ferrari down into turn 13. So yeah, starting to settle down a little bit up front. Dalmont making a bolt with Adam Dalmont. Kim Andre Bjorkman is still not cleared Kirstens at the moment.
No, he hasn't, and that is going to be something he wants to do, of course. I mean, taking a step towards, well, to secure P3 in the championship, which with each coming race has looked more and more likely. Fastest lap, Adam Dalmont on that previous go by 52.847 is the time to beat, and he's closing in on his championship rival. That would be a huge gain for him, and of course one that he wants to make, because obviously there are more points on offer for Heat 2, 25 for a win, as opposed to, of course, the measly 15 for race 1. However, you do get kind of a saving grace in the sense that the gap between P1 and P2 is actually smaller in race 2, so he'd be losing less points than he would be in race 1 as such. So for Dalmont, after gaining, what was it, 7 points or 6 points, 7 points in race 1, still wouldn't be that bad, and still definitely giving him a fighting chance going into Zolder.
Yeah, definitely. He's still going to have an opportunity. You know, they're always going to have an opportunity until the very last race, until the fat lady sings, until the checkered flag comes out in race 2. You know, they've always got that mark, and we've seen it earlier with Mould making a mistake, Bjorkland capitalising, Dalmont capitalising. You've got an opportunity, because it will just be never ending, and you've just got to go for it and go for it and go for it as best as you can.
Yep, don't want to waste any opportunities, and you find yourself, you just need to find every gap that you can, like that one. Kim-Anja Bjorklund on the inside, of course, still fighting, of course, neck and neck with Nick Kirstens into the chicane, and there's contact, and of course, he searched for that opportunity. He was just able to hang on to it, though, and keep pointing the right way. Less than 5 minutes left to go in this race. John Brown, of course, and now closing in, but let's take another look as to what happened. How much of this can you attribute to Kim-Anja Bjorklund?
I really don't know. I'm probably not the best man to speak to. I'm gonna keep my silence, shall we say?
Okay, that's fair.
There are some things that, okay, so can't keep you quiet for very long, right? Let's be real. There's some things that I feel need to be adhered. Bjorklund's been through this chicane with Dalmont side by side, and they've had no problems at all. He's been through it without Dan Mould, and he's been through it without any issues whatsoever. Kirstens has already been caught up in an incident in race 1. He's now been caught up in another incident in race 2. There's a common denominator.
Yeah, but is that causation or is that correlation? Because there is a difference.
All right, let's put it down to wrong place, wrong time then. Should we do that?
Yep.
Okay, there we go.
Cool. Perfect. Right, moving on. As that is probably the most civil disagreement when it comes to incidents that me and James probably ever had. Check the Nurburgring round of the JPB Cup for reference, where I had James and Craig try and win. They didn't, and you know the amount of drivers that messaged me after going, "Are you all right? Like you sounded vexed on that broadcast," and I just want you to know that I completely support you. I was like, cheers.
Get out!
Mate.
Gee whiz, Batman! What a load of waffle! No, don't agree. Let's be civil and get to the end of this broadcast.
To be honest.
Yes, you can. Crack on. That's what you get paid to do. Penultimate lap. Kirsten still got Bjorklund behind him as well. JB's in there once again. So let's make sure that they can get here as Bjorklund goes and pushes it up the inside. Kirsten's on the outside there. He's going to run the outside line. Don't stick your nose in. Bjorklund's coming across it. Bjorklund gives him a fair amount of room, mind you, and probably more than that would have been most people. JB's trying to follow Bjorklund through. Kirsten's tried to take the nose off. Then he comes back again, and Bjorklund does make it through. I'm expecting Bjorklund to run off now and leave JB battling Nick Kirstens. The leaders are coming down into the dry sack. Let's make sure they get through here pain-free and completely empty. And as they go off of turn 7 and 8 once more, Zach.
Yep. 1 minute 40 on the clock. And still undecided is this battle between Mould and Dalmont. What a titanic finish this is going to be to not only this race, but also this season. Of course, Dan Mould is a renowned champion when it comes, obviously, to TCRs and SRL as it was a couple of seasons ago. And he would want to end it. I think that would be the perfect cyclical nature of his touring car career, is to end it exactly how it would have all have started for him. But also for Adam Dalmont, he has got a lot to prove, and what a season it's been for the pair of them. The problem is they both deserve to win it. Only one of them can do it, though.
I agree, they both do, but as you say, only one can. What's going to happen on the final lap? Is there going to be an explosion, or is there going to be clean running?
Well, final lap of the race, you can see Barney Flag waving the white flag, sending us on to one final trip of the Jerez circuit. Dan Mould ahead of Dalmont. With each corner that ticks past, there's one less opportunity for Dalmont to launch a strike. And is he going to get an opportunity? Is there a way through for Dalmont here?
Of course there is. We've seen it thousands and thousands of times. There's always an opportunity. You know, as Eminem said, you only need one shot, one opportunity. Are you going to capture it, or are you going to let it slip?
See how big of a fan Dalmont is of his mum spaghetti as they run their way out of the very long right-hander that precedes the run into the heaviest braking zone on the circuit. Dan Mould with a sensational exit off the previous corner is going to allow him to have the advantage. Of course, Delmont closing slightly under brakes, not really close enough. Dan Mould doing a brilliant job just parking the car exactly where it needs to be and being quick in all the right places.
Yeah, he is, and there's no reason for him to be doing anything different. That's the thing, isn't there? You've got to just do what you've been doing all the way through. You've managed to get up the front, you and Adam together. You've managed to hold on to the position, so why bother doing anything different than what you're doing? You can defend, you can attack. You're more than capable of doing both. They're coming in to turn 11 and 12 now, the chicane, as they make it through there. And now on that run through Ferrari and down into Lorenzo before, it looks like Dan Mould will take the win in race 2.
Definitely looks to be the way. One more corner left to go. Unless he completely fluffs it up all here, it's going to be redemption for Mould and a win apiece for the two championship rivals. A foot, of course, flat to the line. Delmont tried. It was all in vain, but the reverse grid race goes the way of Dan Mould. 1-2 for the two championship leaders, and a very slim margin in the championship gap going in to round number 11 when we take to Zolder in a week's time. Kimanja Bjorklund keeps up a very good run of form rounding off the podium. Billy Mole, the AM winner in the end of that race.
Yeah, he did. Still got Dak Crowther coming second behind him. That's second two second places for Mr. Crowther there. So a great job from him. Alan McCain comes over the line. Scott Malcolm comes over the line as well. But it is Dan Mould taking that victory. We'll bring you up the results here, and then we'll go and have a chat with some of these wonderful drivers, I'm sure.
We'll have a chat with the drivers. I wouldn't necessarily put them. I'm
careful.
horrible.
Be
I am
careful.
horrible. Yeah, if I am on the grid next season for the Snowy Bottoms, I'm going to be targeted. I might as well just like make my entire car a bullseye at this point. Dan Mould wins race 2 in Jerez ahead of Delmont and Bjorklund at the podium. John Brown, Nick Kirstens complete the top 5 with Billy Mole and Dek Crowther the top 2 in the AM hunt. Fraser Garrity, Adam McNally and Cooper Akers round off the top 10, with Akers bagging a podium in the AMs. Of course, that's going to be a strong result for him in the championship. Kev Aylett, Van Kampen and Stuart Gibbons in 13th. Of course, Gibbons close for a race victory, of course, at this in this race at some stage, but unfortunately 5th was all that he could manage. Alan McCain, Scott Malcolm and Chris van der Linde, of course, the drivers that round off this race here today. 16 drivers, of course, all looking very, very strong. And well, all in all, what a very successful evening it was.
Yeah, it definitely was, and I think going forward, we're going to be in for more of the same. We'll see if a couple of drivers do come in for a chat here in to the interview room. We'll give them a couple of minutes once more. But going forward, though, Zach, that's it. We're coming to the end. Not long left whatsoever now.
Yeah, just one more week. And yeah, it's crazy. I mean, obviously, looking back when we started, of course, we had a slightly delayed start to the new season of the TCRs. We gave it the Christmas break, and we started all the way back on the 5th of January for Catalunya, and we battled our way around the world. You know, we went to the Redbull Ring, Imola, Zandvoort, the Hungaroring, and the Nurburgring to round off sort of the first half of the season. We've been to Motorland, Aragon, Monza, Magny, Cours, of course, today at Jerez, and in a week's time, we'll take our way to Zolder for 2 final races around the Belgian circuit. And yeah, the European tracks, well, they were never going to disappoint, and they certainly haven't.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And I think going forward, they're not going to disappoint at Zolder. We all know Zolder as well. It's a very difficult circuit, very off-tracky, very slow down orientated if you're not careful. So it could be a very interesting night for some.
I definitely do agree. We have got a couple of people in the interview room, so we'll drag them in, have a chat. I think we'll start with this man right here. Cooper Akers, of course, not the worst of rounds, of course, managing to bag a podium in race 2. I suppose just talk us through your evening, your thoughts, your feelings, and of course, your expectations going into the final round in Zolder.
I got a podium in race 1 as well.
Well, double whammy then, even better.
Yeah. Jerez, I figured would be a good track. Lots of craziness going around, but yeah, it's put in a good fight against Gibbo. I don't know what happened to him at the end because Kev got him at the line, but yeah, a good little bag of championships. I think the one we're chasing now for the final round should be Gibbo.
Yeah, well, Dan Paples doesn't seem to necessarily be in contention. Is that your aim, then, to go out in Zolder and win the championship?
One can dream.
One can dream. Well, of course, I mean, best of luck for you. I don't have any doubt that you will you'll be able to go and do it. I mean, your recent rounds have been nothing short of fantastic. Best of luck, of course, for you in a week's time, Cooper. Before we let you go, any shout outs you want to give today?
No thanks. Thank you guys.
Awesome stuff. Take care, and well, maybe it'll be the championship in a week's time.
We'll see.
Thank you very much. Cooper Akers then at the end of things. Of course, double podium for him. Kim-Andrew Bjorklund, another man, got a double podium today. And once again, continuing what is a very, very good streak of performance. I mean, when it comes to the championship, you've moved your way into the top 3. Of course, a slight ways off the top 2. But after drop scores, to jump John Brown and Adam McNally, that is a huge part thanks to your recent results. And once again today, you proved that. I mean, a little bit rough around the edges in terms of a couple of niggly bits that just kind of maybe hampered your pace overall. But talk us through your evening because the results speak for themselves.
This was so much fun. I'm sweating here and I'm lost for words actually.
Well,
yeah, first race was pretty okay. It was amazing to keep up with Mold and Delmont. They are incredibly fast. So yeah, and then tried to give Mold some space when he went on my inside, but I run out of road and he kept squeezing. So I had nowhere to go there, and the last race was just epic in my eyes.
Well, yeah, you definitely worked your way forwards. I mean, starting from, I believe, P14 in the end, of course, with Dalmont, Dalmont just in behind. You worked your way up really, really nicely. So a very strong race. Of course, in a week's time, we'll head to Zolder. At the moment, your place inside the top 3 is fairly secure, not guaranteed. What are you hoping for? Obviously, the championship is a little bit out of reach. Are you just going to go out there and see what you can do, or are you going to be really methodical and do your best to keep the top 3?
I'm just going to try my best and try to keep up with those 2 quick guys and try to keep Brown and McNally behind me. And then let's see what happens.
Yeah, well, just play it by ear, I suppose. I mean, Kim, very big congratulations for today, double podium. Not at all a bad result. Of course, best of luck for a week's time. Before we let you go, any shout-outs you want to give?
Of course, shout out to my team, as always, and you guys for streaming this madness.
Definitely does get that way sometimes, doesn't it? Well, of course, thank you for coming to have a chat with us. We'll take care. We'll see you back in a week.
Yep.
Very much. Kim-Andrew Bjorklund then, in the end, a double podium for him. I have seen Mr. McNally jump into the waiting room. He's caught us just at the right time to nab himself an interview. Of course, welcome in. I suppose just talk us through your evening, ups and downs for everyone, but all in all, quite a chaotic race.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was hard to pass. A track I've never raced on, so it's still just a big learning curve tonight on it. Same as last week. I mean, the past 2 weeks I've had no pace in the car.
But you went out there and you bagged not the worst positions. I mean, of course, in your respective battle in the championship, it's you versus John Brown versus Bjorklund as such. And of course, going into Zolder in a week's time, how confident are you're going to be able to secure that P3 in the championship that you've been fighting all season for?
Well, like I said, the pace suddenly for the last 2 weeks, I just don't know what's happened. I just haven't got it. I'm about second off at least. And but it's 2 tracks I've never raced, so hopefully at Zolder I know the track again and get back to the pace and hopefully battle for that 3rd place. I'm more bothered about getting first for the team than 3rd.
Have you put
That's
weight
true,
on
'cause-
Adam this week, have you?
I definitely.
That's
About
what's-
3-4 stone by the feel of it.
Yeah, that's what's slowing you down, mate. You need to get out, hit the gym, do some exercises.
It's the handbrake button. I think I've still got the handbrake button switched on somewhere.
Just unhook the caravan. You'll be all right. But yeah, that I didn't. Yeah, I have just looked actually as to what the team's situation was coming into this race. It's not very far off each other at all. And I suppose obviously the two SRL cars. Has it just been like a sister rivalry between you four? I suppose it's just been a game of pride.
Well, I suppose that's it. It's like really first you want to beat your teammate, and I'm not beating Delmont, so the second people want to beat the sister team.
Well, that's always a good aim to have. Well, Adam, of course, congratulations for today, and hopefully things are going to be looking up in Zolder in a week's time. Before we let you go, any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, just a big shout out to everyone again who does all the work behind the scenes, used for the broadcast, and everyone who turns in, week out. It makes the racing what it is. I mean, even the arms this week were absolutely on fire.
They were indeed. I mean, everyone was really. So hopefully for a barnstorming finale in a week's time. Adam, take care. We'll, I suppose we'll see you in a week's time.
Right, thank you very much.
You, Adam McNally, of course, still in the hunt for the championship position of third, and of course the team's championship win as well. Everyone seems positive today. Cooper Akers was in a good mood, of course, contrary to last week, which is always obviously a good thing to see. Kim Bjorklund as well, over the moon with his performance, and McNally as well, optimistic, happy, and with a smile on his face, looking forward to round off the TCRs.
Yeah, I don't think any of them are going to be unhappy about their evening of racing, right? They've had some great racing, they've had some great door banging, they've had some great side-by-side. It's what we expect from TCRs in general. It's just that for us itself, it's just a shame it's not getting no love. There's no new cars coming in. There's nothing changing in conjunction with next season, and we feel it's time for a change to some open wheelers. So if you want to get yourselves involved in the Soggy Bottom series, you can do as well. And what that means is you will be in a Formula Ford. Rain, go away. Come back another day. All sessions will be wet. How wet is the question? So the calendar's on your screen there as well. Head over to jpbbroadcasting.com. League Racing Soggy Bottom, and you'll find all the details. 2 races there with a reverse grid as well. And all free content within iRacing. You have not got to buy any tracks at all.
Open to all. Yes,
open to all, sorry.
The most accessible series as such, probably going with, to be fair, the free content not bad when it comes to the iRacing stuff, and yeah, I'm still torn as to whether or not I'll sign up. We'll see. Should be a lot of fun, but yeah, some good tracks, great cars, should be some fantastic racing as well. While we still can enjoy the TCRs though, let's make sure we end it on a high. In a week's time, we'll head to Zolder, the tights, the twists, the turns, and the championships at stake. My name has been Zach Sweeney. I've had James Parfitt alongside me to talk you through round number 10 of the JPB Euro Sprint Cup, of course, in the TCRs. Next time, of course, the what was it going to be? The 15th of March. In a week's time, of course, join us around about 9 p.m. in the UK to make sure you are tuning in for the finale of the JPB TCR Cup, the final ever round. 2 more races to go in what has been a fantastic season. In the meantime, I wish you well, take care, and a very warm goodbye.